Welcome, everybody, to Spirituality Adventures. This is a non-judgmental place to explore spirituality, and we're so glad you're here. This is a viewer and listener-supported podcast, so we greatly appreciate your support. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, share, and subscribe to any of the social media content platforms that you're using. And then if you go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, you can make a one-time donation, or with a monthly subscription, you'll gain access to our bonus content. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. All right, welcome everybody to Spirituality Adventures. We're glad you're joining us today on this episode. And today I've got Tanner Foulk.
That's it. Thanks for having me, man.
Tanner Foulk, who is a singer-songwriter, country music.
That's right.
And I'm excited to do this interview. And by the way, for those of you who are watching on video, on YouTube or however you're watching it, we've got some Bull Creek bourbon here. Tanner, why don't you tell us about this Bull Creek, and then I'm going to have Matt come out here. You two guys are going to toast.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the Pellegrino. For all of my friends out there in recovery world, I'm not doing the bourbon. I did too much of that. Had to cut myself off a few years ago, you know. Right. Well, but I wanted to,
I almost feel
I want
bad
you to
for
plug it. No. No, this is fun.
Well, yeah, man. Bull Creek Distillery, they're out of Spring Hill, Kansas, which is just, like I think 30 minutes or so south here. These guys actually were one of my first real shows, with my band, with my stuff, and everything we had going. And they've been great since the very first time, and they've been great every time.
Yeah.
Even on the 4th of July that we were talking about before. But they, they've been really supportive of me. They actually have flown out to Nashville, the guys that run it, and see me play in Nashville and hung out with us. And they gave us this bourbon to try.
Excellent.
Today. And yeah, man, they're great.
All right.
They're great folks.
So Matt, come on up here. This is our producer, Matt Cox. Those you've been listening for a while know Matt.
Well, I guess we gotta.
Yeah, you got to do a little toast here. I'm going to do my. Oh wait, get your. Yeah. Oh, Matt's already got his going.
Yeah,
I got his going. Yeah, and then.
Let me get a little.
All right, and then.
I like the cycle.
So, and by the way, Matt did a music video for you, right?
At Bull Creek.
At Bull Creek Distillery.
Yes, we did a video of an acoustic
you
song.
You can pick that up on your website.
Yeah, you can get it on YouTube, or you can go to my website. There's the link to watch it as well. Yeah, man, they're good. They're good people.
All right, here we go. Cheers.
Cheers, man. All right. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, Matt's the best too. He's got it all. He's got it all unlocked, man. He's never done me wrong.
He is my favorite. Plus, he's like one of the most talented people I know.
He is, and he's just as busy.
Play drums
as anybody.
He can play guitar. He can sing. He can write songs. Crazy.
He's done 2 videos for me, and done some pictures for us, and
excellent.
Always been
some headshots at the barbershop too.
Yeah, like next week, isn't it? Like next Sunday, I'm gonna do some pictures for our barbershop, and dude, I recommend. I have people, I send people to him all the time for logos or anything that they got, because he's great.
Yep, and me too. Well, let's jump in on your story. I like to get your backstory, your story of origin. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah. Tell us
a little bit about your family, and maybe how you got started into music.
Well, I was born in Olathe, and grew up in Osawatomie, and outside of Osawatomie, my parents had a little bit of land, and my grandparents had a farm just outside of town also. When I was a real young kid, my grandma used to take me and my cousin Savannah to Old Time Pickers and Fiddlers, which was 75-year-old people just singing old school country music.
Right.
And so Savannah always sang. She always sang, and so then I got the interest of playing guitar. Probably I was 12 or 13 probably when I really started playing. Mm-hmm. And so we would go to the pickers and fiddlers, like you had to go play. You just play for like 3 songs or something. So I learned some country like melodies and different songs on the guitar. So I did the picking division, and she would do the singing division. And she was a wonderful singer. She really was. And so we won a couple of those, and that was pretty fun. And then we got to high school, and I had some friends, Jacob, Michael, and Chance, and we wanted to start this band, and so at the time I was like really into like 80s hair, like Guns N' Roses and stuff. So we were like, it didn't make any sense that we were gonna play it like, and I wanted to play like Slash played,
Yeah.
So I got the Les Paul, and I did the whole thing, and we started this band, and boy, were we terrible. We were so bad. We were so bad, and but we did it, and Savannah sang, and I played guitar, and we all, we'd have our falling outs as like a classic band, you read those books of like the people that have had bands and all of them, So that was how we kind of got really into it, and I took jazz band in school, and I got really into playing blues guitar and stuff.
Sweet.
So I wasn't always a singer. I was more of I played the drums, and I did the guitar, and I did more musical things like that. And as far as like my family, like it was just me and Savannah that ever did anything musically, really. My little brothers and sisters, they don't play or anything. It's just been, it was like something that we had, and I continue to do it. So
yeah.
That's kind of how it really started. Was my grandparents kind of
cool.
Yeah,
cool. So post high school, like what did you do after high school?
Well, I went to attend Ottawa University.
Okay.
And I wrestled in college.
Oh yeah.
And then I had my first daughter, my freshman year of college. So that was kind of a huge turning point in my life of like, well, now things have changed drastically, right? And so I quit school at the time, and started working, and I had a baby and a family now that I had to take care of, and so I didn't really play much music at that point in my life. I had kind of put it on the back burner of my life, because at that time it didn't seem logistically possible that it would work anymore, and everybody goes their own ways, and you start, you growing up, so everybody, getting jobs and going to school, and so it was a weird time, and I wasn't playing music at that time, so I think that was kind of really my focus, was raising my daughter.
Yeah, you bet.
And so that's kind of what post high school was like for a few years, because it was the only thing I could do,
Right.
So,
what did you go on scholarship? Wrestling scholarship?
I did. I got a scholarship.
What were you? What weight class were you wrestling in high school?
In high school, I wrestled 220.
Okay, and then what about college?
And so I was already having to cut from like 260 to make 220 in high school. So then we go to college, right? And we went to the University of Kansas, and we had to do like our whole like BMI tests, and we had to do all these different things. And my coach calls me, and he's like, "I need you to come to my office." And I'm like, "Oh my God, he knew I went to that party over the weekend, whatever." So I get in there, and he's like, "Hey man, we got to talk about something." And he like pulls up he's got like a smart board,
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're fat," and he's got this laser pointer, and he's circling all these things that's wrong with me. He's like, "I need you to weigh like 181 pounds."
Oh.
And I'm like, "I don't think I can weigh 181 pounds." And I've always like struggled with my weight, growing up. And I was always like super self-conscious about how I looked. And so when I started getting, and I'd wrestled from the time I was a little kid, all the way through school. And so I'd gotten good at cutting weight and doing all that. And oh man, it was miserable trying to lose all that weight.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was not a fun time, but I was happy to have the opportunity to continue my education and my athletics, because I always did enjoy.
That's cool.
Playing sports. So.
I had a buddy who, his dad, he and his brother were all Kansas State wrestling champions. So a dad and his two sons. They're, I think, a smaller town in southwest Kansas. I can't remember the town, But then I think he went on scholarship to
Them boys
maybe.
are tough out there too. I wrestled
Yeah.
like Jeff City or Jeff West or whatever. Man,
This is a guy named Wes Walker.
Walker. Okay.
And then he wrestled, I think is it Missouri Valley? I might get the college wrong. And wrestled all 4 years there, and did really good. And he's friends with a pro wrestler now named Bobby Lashley.
I know who Bobby Lashley.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know Bobby.
Oh,
and
very
I've
cool.
met him through my friend.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I really want to do a podcast interview with him.
That would be
just for
pretty
fun,
sweet,
you know?
man. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, man. I watched some of the tournament this year, and and it's one of those sports that doesn't get a lot of love, but I know, and everybody who's ever been around a wrestler knows how much dedication that sport takes, and I think that it definitely helps shape my mentality of it's a mental toughness to do that sport. So I still use that to this day. And my work ethic and how, I'm forever grateful that I got to do that growing up.
Good stuff. So what got you back into music then? You kind of took this break from it, raising your family. What did you do career-wise at that point?
Well, it kind of started, so I have a daughter, and I had her before I met my wife. So my firstborn was not with my wife now. So me and her mom had separated at the time, and I moved a buddy of mine into our house because she'd moved, and I think I was like 20 maybe at the time. Yeah. And so my buddy Tony moved in, and he sang and was a really good singer. And at this time I still didn't sing anything at all. And so he moved in and he played guitar and all this other stuff. So, and he was really good with Nora, and he'd known Nora since she was, born, because me and him had been friends through school. But, so on the nights, or on the weekends or whatever that I didn't have Nora at the house, we would go to the basement. It literally looked a lot like this, and we would just play and kind of, and he was a really good songwriter. And I wasn't, and I'm still really not that great of a songwriter. It's not as easy for me as it is for other people. But and I loved the songs he wrote. I loved them. I still love him. Anything he writes is just good in my opinion. And so then we started booking some shows together as just like a duo deal. And so we started doing that, and yeah, man, that was really kind of what got me back into. Okay. And I was like, man, I forgot how much I enjoyed this, So that was really the catalyst of getting back into it. So.
Yeah, cool. Matt was telling me that at some point you had another roommate, Dutch Newman.
Yeah, well, or
is that right?
Well,
not really.
Not really.
Anyway, I did an interview with Dutch.
I heard about that.
Well, I don't know how many months ago, but
man,
it was really fun. I enjoyed Dutch.
And Dutch is not shy, right? About
oh
anything.
no, we talked.
Man. So
we talked all kinds of. We talked recovery. We talked all kinds of stuff.
So you guys know about kind of what he was going through. Well, at the time, me and Tony, it was the same house. Okay. And so I had met Dutch because me and Tony were trying to get some shows in Kansas City, and we got invited to I can't remember what it was called, but it was at the Riot Room in Westport. And so we went down there. I'll never forget it. We looked so stupid. We went down to Westport to go to the Riot Room wearing slacks, like a button-up white shirt and a tie. I looked like I left a wedding when so we go in, and I was trying to make a good first impression with some of the people that we were going to meet and all this stuff. So we went up there, and then I had met Dutch then, just very briefly had met him. And so then it kind of grew, and I would talk over social media or whatever. So then he got us a show doing some stuff at it's right by the Uptown Theater. I don't think it's there anymore. The Arts Bar. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? The Arts Bar. So we started going to the Arts Bar to do open mics. And then Matt, do you know what that place is now? It's right next to the Green Lady. I think it's called the Blue Dolphin now. It's a jazz place now.
I know the Green Lady well. I've been there a lot.
It's the building that was right next to it, and it was called the Moose or the Man, I wish I could remember the name of it. But so we'd go do the open mics there, and we would just kind of like trying to network as many people as we could in the area so we could get booked.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Dutch kind of became a part of that. And so, and anybody that knows Dutch knows how easy he is to get along with, you know. And so me and him kind of formed a friendship, and then we started hanging out more and doing stuff like that. And then, well, kind of realizing as we're going along that he's having a tough time, you know, and we didn't know any of that beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of like, he was just hanging out with us all the time. So then he started like staying at our house and doing all this and doing all that. So that was kind of how that whole thing worked.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you missed my Dutch Newman interview, check it out. He's a local hip hop.
I'm going to watch that. I didn't know that
and,
until today that you guys.
Yeah.
So.
And it was fun. We dove into our stories, and
he's very talented too.
Yeah,
he really is. He's very, and he just loves everybody. He's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
That makes me, and it's so.
And he's been in, like me. I can't remember how long he's been in recovery. I've been in recovery about 3.5 years, and he's been.
Because he just called me yesterday wanting me to do a T-shirt design for him. This May will be his
3-year mark. Yeah, so we're pretty close to our journeys.
Yeah, and
he just started a lot younger than I did. So.
You know, and our relationship had ended at that point because, you know, he was so like just like lost in what he had going, and I was like, I can't continue to put myself in the situation, you know, man, and I love you, and it was never like a you know, get the hell out or nothing. It was like, dude, tighten this shit up, bro.
Yeah,
this is a problem. And so man, to see him get to do all the things that he always wanted to have, man, it's fantastic. Yeah, because he deserves it, man. Because he loves everybody, and he's a great dude.
Good story. Good story there. So I'm curious about your faith journey. Did you grow up in a family that had any kind of faith orientation?
You know, not really. It was we always had like my grandparents, which, you know, I guess I should have said that when we were talking about growing up. I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house growing up. You know, my mom had gotten remarried, my dad had gotten remarried, and that was like the one place that was like, it was home to me, you know, because me and my mom had lived there for a number of years, you know, before she got married, and so that was kind of my safe haven, was my grandparents' place. You know, me and my grandpa kind of, you know, he raised me like I was his, you know, and so we had a very special relationship, and there was, you know, we talked about God, but not in the way of Scripture, you know, kind of like put your faith in God and your family and this, you know. He always had a Bible on the end table, you know. But as far as going to church and actually, you know, really getting into it, not really, no. You know, I've kind of had a bout with faith my whole life. It's not something that I really talk about that much. Yeah. But I definitely have my own feelings and thoughts and beliefs, and it's not exactly what it should be all the time. But I definitely believe in God, and I definitely think that He does good things. But I don't put every single thing I do. I don't put it first, you know. And maybe I should, but and some of that is not doing it growing up, you know, because most of the people that are very, very faith driven, it's been a pillar in their life always. So, and I've definitely strayed away from that at certain points, and I've had things happen in my life that have made me hate God, I guess you could say. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody goes through that.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Right.
And I was a pastor.
Yeah, man. See, yeah. It's like, why would God do this to me?
Yeah.
You know, or do this to the people that I love? But it's a part of the faith. The faith part is kind of the...
Yeah, it doesn't always come easy.
It
doesn't always come easy.
Doesn't.
And doubts come easier.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And
that's what happened with me, for sure. You know, here I'd been preaching and teaching the Bible for 40 years and then went through all my crap. And I was like, I felt like an atheist at my darkest place.
Yeah.
Didn't care if I really lived or died. And
sure.
if there was a God, I was kind of like, well, F God. I mean, I was
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
in a dark place, and
Yeah.
so
I get that.
I get it.
I understand how you how you could have felt that way.
yeah.
So, but it's good to have.
Yeah.
It's a good, just like, I don't know how I'm trying to say it, but I don't know exactly how I want to say it. But it's a good path to follow to keep you on track.
Yeah.
I guess to stay at kind of at a center can be your center.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's kind of where I'm at with
good.
it.
Cool. So let's jump into your musical career.
Okay.
Yeah. What you started playing with your friend Tony again, and that I'm guessing that was what 10 years ago or
No,
6-7 years ago or
it was
something.
about 7 years ago.
Okay.
And so I was living.
And what were you doing career wise too? Like
At that
other
time?
than music? Yeah.
At that time, I was working at Walmart Distribution Center.
Okay.
I was throwing boxes because it was the highest paying job I could find.
Okay.
So I guess this is kind of going to go into like a whole different deal here, but so I was doing that, and I was really, really drinking a lot. Not like as soon as I woke up, but like every night I get home from work, I'd have a lot of drinks, and so I was playing music with Tony and doing all this different stuff. And gotten off of work, it was my Friday, and so I went home, and I started getting, having a good time or whatever, and so I passed out, and I get woken up by my dad at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, Savannah got killed in a car wreck. You need to get up. And I was thinking, I'm dreaming, like this, and I was still drunk because I had just passed out on the couch, And he's like, no, you need to get up and get dressed right now. We got to go. We got to go right now. And so I got up, and I was just like so out of it. And so she was killed in an accident coming home from somewhere in Oklahoma. She went to school, Independence. And so
this is your.
So this
is your.
So this was my cousin Savannah. So
and the one that you sang with early.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she was a year younger than me.
Okay.
So we did everything together. We grew up.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time.
Oh, man.
Like I said at my grandparents' place. So she was basically a sister to me growing up. So that was kind of a.
Oh boy.
When we talk about the faith and wondering.
Why. How do you make sense of this?
Right.
Yeah.
And I leaned away from faith and God after that for a long time. And so that was kind of the I don't know, man. That was a tough, really tough time. Yeah. And so made it through that, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. We got through it as a unit, and all of my friends and family that was very supportive of me, and it was hard for all of our family. And so when you lose something like that and it's so tragic, your family's mourning too. So looking for them for comfort is like, you love each other, but it's hard to comfort each other because everybody's so like torn up about it. So my friend, Tony kind of was really there for me. My friend Chance, he was really there for me. Chance, I'd known him since we were, 1 year old and grew up together. We're best friends, and so without those guys, getting me through, and especially Chance, without Chance getting me kind of through that, I would have never made it because after that I quit my job. I didn't really quit. I just kind of quit going. So I just started, kind of spiraling out of control. And then of course I had Nora, my oldest daughter, and I was trying to juggle that, and it was a very hard time. And so all of those people kind of, and Dutch included, he kind of came along right after, as that was, kind of going on right after that. And so that's kind of what really started, I want to carry on what I'm doing, because what if I'm not here and I don't have anything, for like, I always wish I had more like videos of her like singing and doing all this different stuff. So I was like, I want to have something that will be here, when I'm not. Okay. And so that was really the turning point. And so then Tony was trying to help me learn how to sing because I wasn't very good. And so I was like putting all of that emotion into my music, because it was what really kind of started that journey for me, was her passing away. And as sad as it was, I'm it might be her way, because she was always looking up to me and always, following everything I did. And
so you have an inspiration from her.
I do.
Like a muse almost,
yeah, man.
or something like that.
She was the most beautiful person, man. She was so sweet. It was such a shame, man. She was on a scholarship to sing, actually, at Independence College down there. So that's why she was down there. And she had met a guy and was, going to Oklahoma seeing him or whatever. Yeah. And it was like, just one of those things, man.
Yeah. So sorry.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a tough road, but I've made peace with it. It took a long time, but so I do this not only for me and for what I'm doing, but to kind of keep that going. So
yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, man, no problem. It's important to me. So and I want to make sure I can say her name any chance I get.
You bet. So was your first EP when we were younger?
Yes.
Okay, and that was what, 2020?
2020, I think.
Like at the front end of
the pandemic.
At the pandemic.
Yeah.
Did you put that out during the pandemic, after it had already broke, or before?
It was after the pandemic had started, because I think I put it out in like October of 2020.
Okay.
Maybe it was.
And how long had you been? How long have you been working on your EP?
Well,
when did you start writing? When did you first, when would you say your first song came out? Or
I think my first song came out in 2020. It was All by the Drinks.
Okay.
So that song was about Savannah, and it was really about Chance and how he got me through. Okay. That was kind of like my kind of like thank you, I guess, if that's what you want to say, or just kind of my song that I put that emotion into it, right?
So that backstory of that song really changes the feeling for that song for me. Because I've listened to it now several times, and I've watched the recording you did with Matt.
Right.
But I had no clue that was what was behind that song. So that really changes the dynamics of that.
And if you're listening to that song and you don't know, it's still, it resonates in however you want it to resonate.
Yeah,
but yeah, for me, that was kind of like I let it out fine, And me and Chanson had, we had fallen out, because me and his wife had got into kind of like a little scuffle, and it really wasn't that big of a deal, but at the time it was. And so I hadn't really talked to him much a couple years after all of that had happened, and then my grandfather had passed away a couple of years ago, and he kind of came, he came to the funeral because he grew up with him too, and we kind of reconnected in that way, and so that's why. He was really, he's been a good friend to me, and I haven't always been a good friend to him. And even though I should have been, and I love him so much, because without him, I definitely wouldn't have made it through a lot of things. Yeah. So that song is kind of for him, but for me too, So that's it, man. That's kind of why that whole thing started. So
interesting. What's your dad's name?
My dad's name is Kenny.
Okay.
Kenny Foulk Jr.
Okay. I'm just curious. I was listening to the song that you released, I don't know, a year or two ago, called KL.
It's my grandpa's name. Was Kenneth.
That's what I was wondering.
So it was Kenneth Leo was his middle name, and everybody his nickname was Kale. Everybody called him Kale, or whatever. So that was kind of as when he passed away. I was actually in Nashville, and I was doing a songwriters showcase, and I met this guy, Nick Walsh, who's actually from Western Kansas. He actually punted for K-State, but then he moved to Nashville to write songs, and he's actually signed with, I believe he's with Sony Music Nashville now, and he's a songwriter. And so I was telling him about this song because we were in Nashville. We were recording that song. That was our first song that we recorded in Nashville, and I was like, dude, this song is so long, and I'm worried about it being so long. And he was like, who cares? You should write what matters to you and how you feel, because people will listen to it and enjoy it more knowing that it's what you had to say instead of just what you think people want. So it's like a 5-minute song or something. So we put that song out, and that was kind of my song for my grandfather. Yeah, man, I still miss that guy. I wish he was around. He was kind of that guy that if I had anything going on, whether it be my marriage or, kids, he had 5 kids, and he had lost, 2 of his sons,
wow.
through the years. And so he had a very tough go at things too. So he had so much insight, and, and there's a line in that song that's like, it brings you back home, because no matter what I was feeling, when I would go and I would have a conversation with him, it'd make me feel like, all right, man, I got you. We got this figured out, So
yeah, I'll always be there by your side.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
Good stuff. Little Town.
Yeah. Yeah, that song was kind of...
Does that sound like a breakup song?
Yeah, so there was a point where me and my wife were kind of...
I need you to write a song about my whole deal.
Yeah, man, I need to... So, all of my songs...
I'm just...
yeah, all of my songs are all for me, you know, and to put out how my experience went. And maybe that's, maybe I should put out some more songs about drinking and, whatever. But all of my songs I put out are for me. So, yeah, man, me and my wife, being married's not easy.
Right.
Anybody that's been married that says it's easy, they're lying to your face.
I was married a long time, but I'm single now.
Well, congratulations. I think it's not. No, so me and my wife, we'd had some tough times, with it's a lot, raising kids, and she had 2 boys when we met. So so two of the kids are hers from a previous deal, and I had Nora. So then we had 3 kids.
Yeah. So blended family, and that's a challenge.
Yes. So we got married, and then we had my youngest daughter, June. So she my 2 girls, and then she had the boys and everything. So it's it's a blended deal, man. It's a lot of work, and we were kind of getting to a point where it wasn't working anymore, and it was my fault, because she's always been headstrong, and she's always been, anything that bad that's happened has been because I'm an idiot, for the most part. I was pretty young when we met, and having a family and being the head of the family is like something I didn't think I was really ready for yet, or I thought I was, and then you're like, oh, this is like way more than I thought it was going to be. And so we had a lot of ups and downs, and so we had separated, at this point, and I had wrote that song, and it was
why. So you wrote that while you were separated, the Little Town. Yeah. The line is oh, I forgot it now. Doggone it! But you, what's the main line that with Little Town in it? Were you something about will you miss me in that little town? Or I don't know how you worded it.
Yeah.
I'm messing it up, but anyway.
Without me there in your little town. Yeah, because I had moved.
Without you, yeah.
Yeah. So
how's it in this little town without me? Kind of idea.
Kind of that kind of deal. But yeah, man, it was a really tough time. And then luckily, I smartened up and was like, she is way better than I'll ever be, and she's actually the one that pushed me to do my own music. Because I was doing music with Tony, and then she was like, you should really try to do something, So, and she's always kind of been, I don't do that great with authority, but she's always kind of like keeping me on task, And so some of that, it was like I was like fighting against her for some reason, I don't know if it was just like what I thought my life should be and what it is, and man, without her, I definitely wouldn't be here. And I'm so happy that we decided that, it was bigger than what we were at the time, and we decided to work things out, and it's been a blessing to me, man, and I love her so much, and I can't think of her enough, man. Without her, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at. So she's a great mom. She's a hard worker, and she's everything you would want to have in a partner. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. What when you and Matt were talking earlier, you mentioned barbershop.
Yeah.
What's happening with that?
Yeah, man, I'm a barber now. I was actually at the Great American Barbershop, and Guy, one of the barbers in there, he owns the business now. I was complaining to him about my job. I was working as I was an activities therapist. So I studied psychology, and so then I went into activity therapy. And I was like, man, I like it, but it's not paying enough, and this and that, and there's really nothing more you can get paid with it. It's kind of for the love of doing what you do kind of job. Mm-hmm. And Guy was like, well, you should go to barber school. And I'm like, I'm not going to barber school. And he's like, no, I'm serious. You really should. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so I went home and I was talking to Nikki about it, and I'm like, what do you think about me being a barber? And she was like, I don't know, And so this was like right before the pandemic happened.
Okay.
This was like 2019, pre-COVID. And so I'm like talking to Guy about it, and I had thought about it, talked to Nikki about it. So I booked a tour at Classic Transformations Barber Academy in Lee Summit. I went in there and I met the owner, and I was like, I think this might be something I want to do, And so I went home. We talked about it some more. I quit my job, and I decided to go to barber school. So then I started bartending at night, so I could go to school and still make money, And then probably like 2 months into it, it was right around March Madness, and it was like the March Madness tournament is canceled due to this, virus. And so then we're like, oh shit, this is real. Like, if they're canceling March Madness, this is real.
Yeah.
And so obviously the school got shut down.
That was 2021 that they canceled it, right?
I think
is that right?
2020.
Yeah, because
was it 2020 canceled?
Yeah, because it was like 2019 in like November when all that stuff started really.
Because I
kind of coming around.
Anyway, I'm a big March Madness fan.
Me too. What a game last night.
I thought I'm a Baylor grad.
Okay,
so
that's unfortunate.
In 2020, yeah, right. So 2020, that's the year it got canceled.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
I think KU and Baylor would have gotten number one seeds.
It was going to be
year.
KU's year. It was like,
well, and it could have been Baylor's too, by the way. And then the very next year, Baylor, wins the whole deal.
They did, yeah.
For the first time in 50 years, by the way.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
We spanked Gonzaga in that final. I've got that still recorded.
Man, Gonzaga they always blow it, man. It's like I pick them in my bracket every year thinking, this is going to be the Zags year. Nah, dude, my bracket was busted this year.
Well, everybody's was. So there's never been a time in March Madness history where we're doing a bunny rabbit hole here, but where you have every number one knocked out. That's never happened. There's always been at least one number one.
Yeah.
Twos are all knocked out. Threes are all knocked out. Yeah. You end up with a Final Four with a 9, 2 5s, and a 4.
Yeah.
See,
and UConn blew everybody out.
They looked like the way they played. It looked like they should have been a 1 seed.
And it was like I didn't watch any of their games. And then all
year long, you mean, right?
Right. Yeah.
Main season,
like I'm watching like the Sweet 16. I'm like, oh, this team's like this is the team's the real
legit.
deal.
I mean,
they got
the way they played. You're thinking
they got that.
They should be a 1
shooter.
seed.
Yeah. They had that 3-point shooter, and they had them 2 big guys. Man, they just dominated everybody.
They did. Yeah. They looked. Yeah. I'm like going. Anyway, Baylor had a 3 seed this year. But,
it was disappointing for the Big 12.
I know it was because Baylor won at 21, KU won at 22. And then KU comes back to the 1 seed, Baylor with a 3 seed. We had Texas with a 2. We had 7 teams in there, Big 12 guys, and man, they just all got killed.
Yeah,
anyway,
I was kind of shocked that.
Okay, so you opened up a barbershop right around there?
Not my barbershop.
Okay.
Guy Vergoni and his dad actually started it.
Okay.
And it's off of 119th and right there, Strangline, Olathe.
And what you started doing that?
Yeah, I told him
2021.
It would have been
2020
last February.
Okay.
So with all that going on with the COVID, school was closed, for barbering and all that, and so I had to get a job because I didn't know at the time everybody was getting money from whatever. Well, I wasn't gonna get that, so I went and got a job back at the hospital or whatever I was doing before, and so just waiting. So I missed out on a bunch of like online school because I was working.
Mm-hmm.
So when COVID finally finished and we got to go back to school, and you know, school's not short for being a barber. It's like 1,500 hours of school. So it wasn't like a quick process, and I'd already dumped all this money in it, so I had to finish it. And Guy was like, you know, I was like, if you give me a job, I'll do it, you know, but I'm not gonna just do it and then not have, you know, and then have to look and try to make it. So he was like, I'll give you a job, I promise, you know. So and he did, and I started at the barbershop a little over a year ago, and it's been the best. It's been awesome.
Nice.
It's been killer. It's been so good. It was such a relief to finally finish it and get like a you know, a career, and I get to express myself in what I'm doing. So
So have you developed a pretty good client base?
Now I do.
Yeah.
I pretty much know everybody that I see. I mean, there's always new guys, but it's packed to the walls every day, man. It's crazy in there. It's a good location. They've been there 20 years.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and for a small business, the last 20 years is a big deal.
Do they do all the, like, do they shave and do all of that
Oh yeah,
stuff?
man. Yep, straight razor, the whole deal, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
I have a gal that does mine.
Yeah.
And she does my sister and my mom and,
Sure.
you know, all the whole family. But, you know, I don't know if I'm curious if this is true for men barbers.
Okay.
Doing haircuts with men, right?
Right.
Because, like, I always tell my lady, like, you know, you should charge $120 an hour because you're really a counselor who just cuts hair.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like that, I know that's true for her 100% because she does mostly women.
Right.
But I was curious, like, what goes down in a guy when guys are sitting there? Are they just BSing, shooting the breeze?
It's like,
is it a combo?
It's old school, man. It's 2-chair shop, like a TV from 1985 that's never on, and it's like, man, all the world's problems get solved until you walk out the door. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how much I've learned from some of these guys. You know, and how much wisdom some of these guys have. Like, and I don't take it for granted, and I really try to listen to the things some of these guys, and some of them are crazier than hell, man.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like way out there, but some of them, you know, really know what's going on. You know, and they've seen a lot, and so with it being just 2 chairs, it's very personable. You know, and everybody, you know, kind of does the same stuff because it's the area, you know, and so they've done a good job. And John, who was Guy's dad, who started the business, he still works there, but he wanted it to be like, if a CEO wants to come in and get his hair cut, he can sit here and feel as comfortable as he can as the blue collar construction worker sitting in this chair over here, and everybody can this is a place where everybody can just be a guy, you know? And so even in the women that come in with their kids, you know, and they go into the bathroom, so there's this little sign that John had put up in there. It says, to any woman using our restroom, please return the toilet seat to the proper upright position. And they get a kick out of it, man, and they love it every single time they come out of there. They're like, that sign is hilarious, you know? And so it's always a lighthearted place, man, but I've taken a lot of you know, some of the things some of those guys have said have really resonated with me, and I've learned a lot about being married, because some of those guys, you know, they're married for 40 years, you know.
Right.
She's probably right.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of you know, I've learned a lot. So it's been a great experience, man. It really has.
I always said, you know, the queen on the chessboard can do whatever she wants.
Anything. They got the power, and they know it too. They know it too. And we're just, you know, whatever. We're just here for it. So, man, it's true. It's true.
All right, man. Well, that's good stuff. Well, so tell us what's coming up for you. What's going on with your concerts? Where are you playing at? Tell people how they can get a hold of you. Do you have another project underway?
I do.
Stuff like that. Give us what's going on now, and what the rest of this year looks like, maybe.
The rest of the year
March. We're in April, early April 2023.
Yep. So we're about to start outside venues and such, which is fantastic. So in the winter months, I'm playing a lot by myself. You know, I'm kind of going out and playing without the band, mainly because like a lot of venues don't want a full band inside because it's so damn loud. You know, so I've been playing kind of around the Kansas City area all winter. Now we're getting into like going out and doing festivals and traveling around and doing some more stuff like that. We're booked until like the end of November already. Wow. So it's been
cool. How many guys are in your band?
There's 4 of us.
Okay.
There's 4 of us, and we had
you and 3 others. Mm-hmm. Are you on acoustic?
I play acoustic and I sing.
And then you like drum, bass,
electric.
Electric, yeah.
We had a kid that was playing with us for a little while, Nate Gregory. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He played with the Stephen Banky and the Flatlanders band. They're local Kansas City.
Okay.
But dude, that kid is like next level. He's like 18 years old. Can play guitar better than anybody I've seen in a long time. Country guitar. He just moved to Nashville. You know, he's gigging out there, which is really cool for him. So we're rooting for him too. And but yeah, there's 3 other guys. I got Travis, Max, and Tyler that play with me, and we've formed, you know, a really good friendship doing it. You know, because we all love the music part of it, which is great. But yeah, man, we just like doing what we do, and if we didn't, then we wouldn't do it. You know, so for me, it's an expression of how I feel and what I have been and what I can offer to people that maybe.
Yeah. So it's Tanner, TANNER Foulk.
FOULK.
.com.
Yep.
And
I'm really bad about updating my show dates on there too.
Well, I was just looking at it this morning.
Dude, I'm so bad about that. I should just like pay somebody like $20 a month just update it every month, because I'm so bad about updating.
Yeah,
I'm so bad about it. Like I said, I got like 4 kids, and I'm like always like going. So
how do people find out where your live stuff's going down?
I always post it on my social media.
Okay.
On anything.
And is it Tanner Foulk?
Just Tanner Foulk or Tanner Foulk Music. Luckily, you can look me up in the area. It always pops up because I'm always doing something in the area and tagging different businesses and doing that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, I'm local all the time. I actually think I'm off this weekend. You know, it is Easter. So we're doing some family stuff. But next Saturday, I'm at the Landing in Liberty, I believe. The 15th, right? That's the 15th? Yeah, I'll be at the Landing in Liberty, which is one of my favorite places to play. That's pretty close to here. Yeah. So
all of my sisters live up, and a lot of my nephews and nieces live up north. A lot of them. I mean, I'm talking like around Excelsior, Kearney.
Yeah,
and all
I
of them
actually played in Kearney last year.
Oh yeah,
at their festival they did out there.
Yeah, at the outdoor theater.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then I played at Fat Boys, I think, which is in Kearney too.
Well, they're huge country fans, so they love live music. So they were all camping out last weekend at Smithville Lake, and I said, stick Tanner Foulk in there. Listen to his music. You know?
So on that project, you know, that first project that we put out, that EP, you know, we recorded it in Bobby Loudon, who is Archway Audio Production. He actually moved to Nashville a couple years ago now, and went to school for audio engineering and works at, I think it's Blackbird. I don't know if that's 100% right, but it's something like that. And so he did our first project, and we did it in a house in a box like about the size of this. You know?
Cool.
And so I think our plan is we're going to take some of those songs. We were pretty green at that point. I think we're going to take a couple maybe of those songs, and we're going to put an album together in Nashville and actually get it done.
Cool.
Done. And so the original ones will probably take off, you know, just because of it could be better. And so that's part of our next project is I'd like to put out a whole display of one big thing and then kind of go from there. So, and I've got a bunch of friends that I've been working with in Nashville that are songwriters
doing
and
some
stuff.
co-writing and stuff. Yeah.
The networking is great out there because everybody's got the same goal.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. So you're going to do a couple songs for us.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're, we always do one for the show, but then also for our supporters. Yeah. We do a little, extra bonus content stuff. And if you're not one of our supporters, jump on spiritualityadventures.com and check that out. You can jump on, and there's a lot of good bonus content that we do.
Yeah, man.
So good stuff. So what are you going to do for us today?
I think I'm going to play "I'll Buy the Drinks," which is kind of leads into that what we were talking about in this interview.
Excellent.
So it'll be kind of cool for some people that don't know to get kind of a little context on that. So. And then I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to play.
Okay.
After that, so
all right, man.
I'll have to ask a couple of my buddies and see like which one you want to hear or something.
Excellent.
So yeah.
All right.
Well, and thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I really
you
do
bet.
appreciate it. You guys have been great.
Thanks for coming on, and
my man Matt.
Folks, I'm going to have Tanner introduce his songs, and thanks so much for being here. And
thank you. Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
You bet.
For sure.
Thanks everybody for tuning in to spiritualityadventures.com Yeah, that's my website.
What
spiritualityadventures.com, the website. But thanks for tuning in to our podcast, Spirituality Adventures. And
are you on Spotify?
We're on Spotify, Apple, everything,
cool. Very
Google.
Cool, sweet. That's awesome.
However you can listen. Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
Check it out. And Tanner's going to play a couple songs for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me. I'm Tanner Foulk, and this is "I'll Buy the Drinks." Remember when we were kids, thought we knew it all back then, didn't we? At 6 p.m. at Carly, talk about who we'd be when we got out. I'll meet you on the corner of Lincoln and Carl. Grab your mitt, the boys, and let's play some ball. Well, you were my shoulder to cry on the day she died. The day we walked the stage and swore we'd leave this town behind. Back when we used to wish our lives away. Back when we were 17. Since we're not, I'll buy the drink. Well, man, I said things didn't mean, but you know better than and damn near anyone else. I'm a fool. You tried. I hope someday that we can leave all of this behind. And I'll meet you on the corner by the bar. And man, can you believe we made it this damn far? And whoa, for you were my shoulder to cry on the day she died. The day we walked the stage and swore we'd leave this town behind. Back when we used to wish our lives away. Back when we were 17. But since we're not, I'll buy the drinks. I'll buy the drinks. You were my shoulder to cry on the day he died. or the day we walked the stage and swore we'd leave this town behind. Back when we used to wish our lives away, back when we were 17. Since we're not all by the dreams, all by the dreams. Remember when we were kids, we thought we knew it all back then, didn't we?
This concludes today's episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember to like, share, or subscribe to the social media platform that you're using. And then go to our website, spiritualityadventures.com, and make a one-time donation, or you can subscribe monthly and receive our special bonus content. Thanks so much.